tier premises right here in Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. If you're listening to us wherever you are, welcome to another segment here on the Morning Ride on Memories 96.5 FM. It's exactly 5 minutes since it struck 10 this Monday morning. Welcome to the melting point where we get to discuss huge developments in Nigeria regarding security, education, politics, governance, health, and everything else that concerns you as a citizen. Welcome to the program and thank you for joining us. My name is NYAKNNO Albert.
I am Anifio Enquiry. Thanks for joining us and stay tuned to the melting point.
Good morning, the old sailor.
Yeah, the hot saucer is nice to have you. Good morning as well.
How you doing?
I'm cool.
How was your weekend?
Yeah, I really one at that. No, though we don't have weekends, but we're ever dutiful, and it was nice anyway.
All right then. Well, Nigeria may be on the verge of one of the biggest security reforms since the return to democracy in 1999. Being that the federal government says consultations on state police have reached an advanced stage with constitutional amendments expected to follow. Supporters of that move believe it could strengthen local security and intelligence gathering, while critics are warning of possible political abuse by state government. So, is state police the solution Nigeria has been waiting for, or could it create new challenges while we're expecting it to, of course, tackle some of the issues we have been facing in the security sector? So, let's get to unpack the issues with our guest on the melting point today. We'd like to welcome to the program this morning a public affairs analyst and a social commentator, Enquiry. Enquiry. Good morning, Enquiry. It's great to have you join us today.
Yeah, Yaki, good morning, and good morning, Oselo.
Yeah.
And happy new month to everybody. Well, I think I've been here this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually
not on the
cold.
melting point.
No, not on the melting point.
Yeah.
Yes, so well, that is it. Let's go.
Okay, well, remember you can be a part of the discussion via the phone lines on 0803 085 7755. That's for calls. And 0829 0666909. That's for WhatsApp messages. So if you drop a comment there, we'll get to read it here this morning. Let's get started. For years, state police has been one of the most debated security reforms in Nigeria. I mean, previous administrations have discussed it, but little progress has been made. Now the federal government says consultations have been concluded and constitutional amendments may soon begin. How significant is this latest development? And do you think Nigeria is genuinely on the verge of establishing state police, or do you think there are still major hurdles ahead?
Well, I think when you look at this particular party in power, one of the major things that they campaigned for when they were not in office in those days has been the turning Nigeria into a true federation, which one of the major components of a federation is that policing must be local. In fact, if you want to follow the tenets of a federation, a true federation, you're likely going to notice that even just having a state police is not enough, because in many cities, even in a centralized a system of government, we want to look at it from the classic or the traditional systems of government that we have. We have what do you call it? We have what do you call what Britain has, which is supposed to be central, is not a federation. It is a unitary system of government. It's a unitary system of government, and a unitary system of government, things like policing, sources of income must be centralized. And but in Nigeria is the only federation of the 100 and I think 50 something federations in the world. Nigeria has been the only federation that that run this kind of system where you have the how would I call it? You have the police being controlled from the center. Every level of security architecture is being controlled from the center, which is an aberration. It's not supposed to be so. And we thank God that this president, after 12 years, this party is trying to keep to the promises they made. I remember Buhari was one of those that campaigned on this, and when he was in office, and some of his backers, supporters, like Pastor Tunde Bakare, couldn't take it anymore, he went to him in Aso Rock, and when he came out, people asked him, what exactly these things you people said you are going to do? Why did you not tell Mr. President? He said he discussed the matter with Mr. President, and he told him specifically, sir, these things we said, these are the things we had in a document when you and I ran, and I was in 2011 or 2012 or something like that. You and I ran for election on this platform 2011, and this is what we discussed. This is what was in the we wanted to talk about two federation, and Buhari told him everybody is speaking from different things, he doesn't know which one to choose. And I remember Bakare said that he told Mr. President, don't listen to any of them, listen to the document that we prepared. You know, forget about what they were campaigning on. But for the first time, kudos to this president, possibly with pressure, and now that you have so much insecurity affecting his zone, which is the southwest, and he is taking steps. But we should know that this is not actually something that just happened yesterday or so. Some months back, about 2 months back, Mr. President has set up a committee, about an 8-man or 9-man committee headed by one professor of security or something like that. I've forgotten the name of the man, to work on the framework for a state police. And the committee had put the matter up, and that matter was kind of was submitted to the National Assembly, and some of us thought, well, maybe this thing is going to die there in the National Assembly. But less than 2 months after the submission, I think about a month plus ago, I read through it. I read through the report, part of the report, though they couldn't give much on what was inside that report, but it was submitted to the National Assembly. And I thank God that soon enough that we are hearing that the National Assembly is talking about deliberation. It's a process. It's going to take some time, but let me hope that it will not take more than a year before we get there, because this is a constitutional matter. It's not just something that Mr. President can use executive powers to do. He has got to go through serious constitutional debate and review, not just at the national legislature. It has got to go down to the state before we can get to see the end of this stuff.
All right, let's talk about both sides of reactions to this latest development, which is those in support and those who are criticizing it. The supporters argue that state governors and local communities often understand their security challenges better than authorities in Abuja, and they believe that state police could improve intelligence gathering and response times to security challenges. But then, based on experiences in other countries and Nigeria's peculiar realities, how much difference could state police make in tackling issues like kidnapping, banditry, and other security threats?
Yeah, you know what we should understand is that, just like we talk about politics is local, we should also understand that security again is local. There is no way somebody can enter the community and know exactly where to go, and the person that they can exactly kidnap, and somebody within the locality does not have a hand. For the ability of these criminals to come in, operate, and escape, it simply means they must have known the community very, very well. So that is why we need the hand of some people within the community who know exactly why and where, who is one and who is two, who is a criminal, who is not a criminal. So certainly we need element of people in within the community. And again, if you look at security across the globe, you notice that there is no nation on earth that is effectively being able to handle its own security, that people within that community are not involved, the local people involved in policing. You know, I was reading something about some Americans who went to what do you call this place? There's this Xinjiang province in China, who are not the main Chinese, they are Muslims from the western part of China. And I understood that even the police in that kind of environment were persons from that community. This is a country that people say is a totalitarian state and all that. But then you notice that they are wise enough to know that you have to decentralize policing, and they took it to the communities, and that is exactly how it happens. If you go to a city, a country like Great Britain, which is a unitary state, so to speak, you notice that even within a city, take for example like in Enquiry here, that's why I said the decentralization is only the first step. We need to go beyond. I know we have our own peculiarities, and we need to ultimately go beyond just having a state police, because in most countries of the world where policing are very effective, take for example, New York here should have its own police, and the cities, local government should have their own policing, and the state will have its own police, and with different jurisdictions and like that. So that is it. But you know, nation building is a process. It is not an event.
Okay, as the momentum gathers to make state policing effective, some people say the governors, or in your view, would you think the governors will hijack this to hunt their perceived opponents?
Yes.
Political opponents?
Yes, certainly you're going to have those kind of things. You're going to have situations where religion will can, especially when you look at the north. Right now we have the Hisbah police in most of the northern states, and Hisbah is a religious police, and we are certainly, you do have challenges, you know, where you cannot, there are certain alcoholic drink and certain people hotels are entered to, people can be judged within those courts based on religion, so to speak, and but that is even a little, because most times I've not really heard situations where, like in Kano, where the Hisbah police started in Nigeria, we have not heard a situation where a non-Muslim has been, I mean, the Hisbah is used in targeting non-Muslims. And again, we need to understand that even the Hisbah police has a higher moral standard than even the Nigerian police. The level of corruption within the Nigerian police is far more than what you have in among those local Yes, you have they can be politicized, especially during elections season that is coming, and people will use it. But we are still taking baby steps on those things. You see, I always like to point out to Nigerians what happened in America. They have this their jury system where the judge, after the decision, maybe it is the jury that will pass this sentence on somebody who committed a crime or the other. A lot of people, innocent people, suffered, especially blacks in a lot of states in America. But the system in its purity is a very good thing. You see, so the American didn't throw it away. And you remember what the Bible talks about. I think it was Solomon that said, whoever observed the cloud, you know, shall not sow, and whoever regarded the wind shall not reap. In other words, you don't wait for a perfect condition for you to do what is right. So with the fact that we know that governors are going to, some of them, so to speak, are going to maybe possibly exploit this state police, the executive powers they have over security to do whatever they want. But yet we need to understand that in its purity, in its essence, this idea is a good idea, and we have to keep on working to make it become better. If you look at, like I said, look at the Hisbah police, outside the fact that it is a religious police, but the truth of the matter is that it is not infested with corruption than the federal police that we have in Nigeria or any federal institution. You don't see that happening. So I do believe that being a local structure, that if Okon has done something to you and you know him and his family, it is very easy for you to, get even his family. You know, we are still a very traditional people. Take for example, if somebody from my local government come to my village to do something wrong with the uniform, I can go to his village head and report him, and the village would invite him or invite his parents and something like that. Would that, if such shame and reproach can come to his family, certainly I think some people may sit up. It is easier for us to seek redress with having our own people within the security operatives running our own local security, than for you to have somebody who is from Borno or from Sokoto who knows nothing about your culture, and he comes there to do whatever he may want to do. You know, we have situations where our brothers have been sent to, say, a place like Yobe. I met a lady who was complaining with the husband. She was virtually crying that the husband was sent to Yobe, and the man ran away from Yobe State. Why did he run away? Because he doesn't understand anything. He said most of his colleagues have been killed, you know, because they don't understand the nature of the place. So they can lure you out to go and kill you there. So it will be better for people in Yobe State to be in charge of Yobe security, instead of somebody from Akwa Ibom here who doesn't hear the language, doesn't understand the terrain, may not know the culture. He can even offend the culture of the people because he's come policing come to stay in Nigeria.
Well, still staying with the other issues, we've talked about the angle of supporters. Now let's talk about the angle of critics, just like the old Silla mentioned. Yes, one of the biggest concerns is that of state governors using state police to intimidate political opponents, influence elections, or suppress dissent. What constitutional safeguards and oversight mechanisms will be needed to ensure state police serves the public and not the political interest of those in power?
Well, you see, let us first and foremost look at the way we are now. Are we free of those kind of influences? No. The former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, who is now in detention, there is a man who has a company that produces music producer called Chocolecity. I think Audu Maikori. Audu Maikori was in Lagos. He criticized the government on Twitter, and the governor sent a team of police, federal police, across from Kaduna State right to this thing to arrest the man and take the man to Kaduna. You know, this was a federal police. So why did that happen? So when we keep on talking about how governors are going to abuse federal police, it is being abused as we speak. But we do believe that. But let us use an example, like I said. In Kano, like I said, you have Hisba police. Has the governor of Kano State exploited Hisba police for his own personal end? No, it's not happening. Because it is rooted in the tradition of the people.
So it's left to the discretion of the leader in charge?
Yes, that is it. And it's very easy for the people to seek redress or to stop the governor from doing it if it is locally structured. You know, it is far better. We know we are certainly going to have certain governors who are going to do what is. Certainly they are using the federal police as we speak to do it. It is easy for the governor to spend his money and get the kind of how would I say, get the kind of result he wants, you know, from this thing. But at the same time, we had a man here in Uyo was in charge of a certain aspect of the police, I think anti-crime, and there were certain things he did in this state, which was all over social media. People who had encounter with the man, and the man is late. I think he was transferred to, I think, Ekiti State, and he died soon after. I don't think that man was from Akwa Ibom State, and he had his duties within Akwa Ibom State, that he would do the things he did. He could hide under the cloak of federal policing to do whatever he wanted to do. But if he was posted to his own state, would he have been able to do that? We had this man who has run away from Nigeria, who was in his name came out. I've forgotten the man name. I think he was from